Hi guys, it's Kelly here, and I am back with another video. Today's video, we are going to be using lots of new products from Altenew. This is the Color Pop Hello, super fun. The Prim Peonies Stamps and Dies, and then the Luxurious Motifs 3D Embossing Folder, this is what's going to give us that kind of faux tile look. So here I have some brushed gold cardstock from Altenew. I am going to run that through to get that nice embossed look, which I totally love. This is beautiful and gives kind of like that faux tile look to begin with. But then in addition to that, I'm going to go in, this is antique gold. This is a pigment ink that's from Altenew. And I'm just kind of wiping it all over, and then I'm going to go in with a dry cloth and then just kind of buff it over the whole thing. This is going to settle into those crevices and really kind of make the embossed portion kind of pop up. I was definitely going for a more subtle look today, but you could do this with a much darker brown. You could do this with a black and just really let it get into those crevices and get much more of a aged or distressed look, depending upon what kind of tile you were going for. I definitely wanted mine to be a bit cleaner just because that's my style. But you can kind of grunge that up as much as you would like. Just a really super fun, easy technique. Now I used this embossing folder, but tiles come in all kinds of patterns. So as long as it's a smaller pattern that has a lot of embossed detail, you could probably get away with it to use for the that faux metallic tile look. And they do have other metallic cardstocks as well that you could try it with. I just went with gold because I felt like that was going to work the best for the look that I like, because I do like yellow gold, as you can probably tell by my jewelry. So here, these Prim Peonies, these are beautiful, very generously sized. This is half a sheet of cardstock, so it is 5.5 by 8.5. That's what I'm stamping on here. And then we're going to go right into the coloring after the stamping is done. This card took me about an hour. That's really fast for me. Why did it take me only an hour? Well, this video is part of an Altenew video hop. I did that with the last one too. And so you may have noticed that earlier today, there was a different video up on my channel. So I've been kind of just like super overwhelmed with all the things I have on my list. And I've had just a lot of things going on in my schedule. And I signed up. Altenew generously invited me to be part of 2 video hops, which let's just talk about the details of that real quick before we get any further down the line. So it is a video hop. Any step along the hop, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, all of that. Altenew is generously giving away $300 in giveaways. One of them's a $100 gift certificate, and then they're giving away 10 $20 gift certificates. So super cool. You have until I'm not sure what is it to enter. I think they're going to announce the winner on the 18th. So anywho, as long as you're within like the next week or so, you should be able to leave a comment and be entered in to win. Just make sure you're hopping along. But so I keep saying the last one. What am I talking about? The last video. So I get a lot of emails, and I'm very, very blessed. This is not a complaint. I am just trying to report to you the facts of the story. The facts of the story. I get a lot of email invitations from companies for either guest design or, maybe just being invited for just a specific release, or maybe they're doing a class or an Instagram hop or whatever. And I am very blessed to work with wonderful, wonderful companies, and Altenew is one of them. I signed up. They invited me to 2 video hops this month. And so the other one will be later on in the month with a bit of a different release. And so last night I was like so backed up with all my appointments, and then there was the whole Easter weekend. And so I made arrangements, for like the things that I would normally do. So I asked my husband, hey, can you take the baby to where she needs to go? And he was like, yeah, that's no problem. So then I called my dad, which I never do. Okay, I never do this because my kids are my responsibility. But I called my dad and I was like, by chance, would you like to run Peanut to school in the morning? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. Like whatever you need me to do, which I genuinely appreciate. They are wonderful helpers. And then so this way I knew that I could just stay up a little bit later and I would be able to knock out the things that I needed to get done in a timely fashion. So I was up so late, guys. It's been a long time since I have been up quite that late, but and just for context here, it takes me pretty much a whole working day to make a card, photograph it, edit the videos, and link it. That's like one whole working day is one whole video. So, I mean, roughly 7-8 hours. And so I did it last night. I made the card. I did the video. I edited it. I voiced it over, the whole thing, because it had to go live at 9 a.m. this morning. Who knows what time it is even now when you're watching this. It's 7 o'clock when I'm voicing it over. And so I did, and I uploaded it and everything was good to go. I got up this morning to make sure that Peanut was doing what he needed to do to get off to school. And then I went back to bed because like I said, I was up late. And so I got up late morning, early afternoon kind of situation. And the only thing that I hadn't done before was I hadn't sat down and linked all of the products. And so I went to sit down to do it, had my cup of coffee, the whole deal, and I could not find the link. And I was like, where is the link for this set? Like, why can't I find it? And then I started going through my emails and I realized that I had actually flip-flopped the product. So I made the video for the hop that's later this month instead of the one for today. Oh, Lord have mercy. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like I stayed up all night doing this for something that didn't even need, like that wasn't even the right thing. Why? So anyway, of course, I believe in, just like I try to teach my kids, like you take ownership of the things that you do. So I immediately sent them an email. I marked the video as private because I didn't want to break the hop. But I also did not want to invite more viewers than just the people who were on the hop. So I marked it. I sent the email and I was like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? You want me to leave the video up? You want me to take it down? You want me, to have, because Mindy Egan, who's a friend of mine, is before me, and JC Gasper, who I don't know personally, but is just an endlessly talented artist, is after me. And so I was like, wait, do you just want them to link to each other? Like, what do you want me to do? And I have not gotten a reply yet. So I am not a person who's just like, I'm going to rest on my laurels. This is my mistake. And so I just decided that I was going to make a card with the correct things. So I knocked this card out in an hour. I edited it in about 30 minutes. And now here I am doing the voiceover. I will still have to wait for it to upload to YouTube. But you have like a week to enter the giveaway. So I figured it was worth it to just use and it's a beautiful product. I love it. I wish that I had used it to begin with. So I'm thinking maybe they'll just save the other video, even though it only had like 500 views or something. It was a very limited amount of views. Let's talk about what we're doing here. So I'm coloring with my Altenew artist markers. I went with purple because I like it with yellow gold. And then here I was just trying to get some different colors into my peonies because that's what I like. So I went in with like a medium pink and went over this one. And you can see the contrast between the two. And for this one, I did want to add just a little bit more pink. So I went in with a lighter shade of pink and just kind of flicked that over top of, I didn't do the whole thing, just kind of like from the base of the petals up. And I really liked the way that they came out. So I did fill in the little stamen yellow. And these I didn't add any shading to because they're literally just the teeniest tiny little circles. And so, well, they're more teardrops, but anyway, so then I'm going to move on to the leaves. I did everything the same. The color glazing and all of that in the other one as well. So I'm not going to show you both. That's why this video is maybe just a smidge on the shorter side for me. Because I was busting through it, y'all. I was like, I got to get this done because it should have already been done. And I'm so behind. But anyway, so I go through, do all of that, and probably about, yeah, it's probably been about a half an hour. Mindy sent me a text message and she was like, am I losing my mind, or did you have a video up for Altenew today? Like, Mindy girl, no, you ain't crazy. No, ma'am. It was there. Now it's gone. Why? Because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm making it up as I go. That's literally, I've been doing this like blog hops and guest design and like being on full blown design teams for how many years now? 13 years, and that has never happened to me before. It is horrifying. I feel terrible, but it is what it is. I own my mistakes. I'm trying to make up for it, and we're just going to move on. So let's talk about this ColourPop die. This die, super cool. So it says hello, and it looks like it's a full die. Like you can read the word hello, but it's actually on the left-hand side of all of the letters. It does not cut. It acts as a hinge, so that you can kind of like pop the letters up and you get to see this aptly named little ColourPop underneath it. Super cool. So creative. Like, totally love that. I knew I was going to trim it down, but I didn't know what size I was going to trim it down to. So to me, it just made the most sense to cut it out of a full A2 card front. And then that way I would be able to see what I was working with. And here, like, this is, I've trimmed it down, but I even trimmed it down further than this. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with these peonies, like how I'm going to arrange them. And I very quickly learned that like I was going to have to cut them apart, which honestly I'm here for. Like, I want to be able to use my supplies in the most ways possible. And so sometimes that means like taking, this is a beautiful like little swag of peony. It's gorgeous. But in order to make it work for this card design, I have no issues with cutting it apart and only using, you know, like certain pieces parts. I did end up using all of the pieces. I just laid them out differently than the original stamp. And so here is where like I'm trying to lay everything out and I'm very quickly realizing that the white is too large and I need to have more real estate for my flowers to be seen, because I mean, flowers. But also I wanted to see a little bit more of that metallic in the background. So now at this point I've arranged everything. I'm happy with how it's looking, but this is one of the struggles that I have. And it's not necessarily that I needed the press and seal for the arranging. I did not. What I needed the press and seal for, well, I guess it is a little for the arranging. What I needed it for was to be able to put down those flowers that are underneath in the correct place. So I am picking this up with a little bit of press and seal. Then I'm going to glue down the flowers that are underneath my I guess we'll call it a sentiment square, that are underneath my sentiment square. And then after that, I can arrange everything pretty easily. They're large pieces. I don't need the press and seal for it anymore. But for this portion, the press and seal was very helpful to get everything lined up underneath that sentiment square without having to like hold it there and slide things in or just glue them down and hope they were right. Like, this worked much better for me. So, and at some point I must have bumped it, like, as you can see, this hello is a little bit crooked and it wasn't crooked when we started. But that's okay. It happens. Like, stuff just happens and we roll with that. That is the theme of today's video. Like, stuff just happens. Nobody is perfect. Just adapt and roll with it. So even though this video is getting up a little bit later than I had originally intended, since I had one up at 9 a.m. this morning, I did recently promise you guys that I would have more videos. And I do. I have been creating. I have several videos that need to be edited to go up. I just have not had the time to edit them. And so hopefully I will be able to do that. Here, I'm just going through and making sure everything is super secure underneath there. I decided to put a little piece of eggplant cardstock underneath my hello, and then I am popping this up on foam. One of the things, because we haven't really shared too many stories about creativation or my traveling or any of that, because I haven't been making any videos, so one of the things that was really wonderful and very kind and just melted my mama heart was, while I was out of town, Peanut came upstairs and kind of like picked up my craft room a bit. So that way, quote unquote, this is what he told my mom, so that I would have something nice to come home to. Wasn't that so sweet? Isn't he just the sweetest? So he did, like, he vacuumed it for me and he picked it up, and just very thoughtful. Makes me very proud of him. I'm always proud of him, but little things like that really just, you know, kind of melt your heart and let you know, like, maybe I am raising a good human. Maybe I am raising a good human. Thank you, Lord. And so, but anyway, normally I would have used Altenew's foam adhesive. I actually really do like their foam adhesive, but I can't find it. I'm not sure what he did with it when he was cleaning the room, so I have to check in with I have to check in with my son to see what he did with it while I was out of town, because it has to be in here somewhere. It's a huge roll. I know he wouldn't have gotten rid of it. So now once everything is in place, I am just going to trim off these excess little leaves that are hanging over the edge. If you have a bigger envelope, you wouldn't even have to do this, but I don't. I have just A2 size envelopes. Couple of business for slim lines. I personally don't really love a white outline, and so the closest one I could find to the gold is actually a mustard colored in my Copics, so that's what I used for that. But then the other ones, obviously they're the artist markers, so I was able to color in the edges with the markers that I colored everything else with. After that, all the edges were colored in, I did add a bit of shimmer to the flowers because I love shimmer and it's beautiful. And then the last thing I did was just go in with a white gel pen and put some little dots on the stamen just to act as a highlight. And then that's it. That's the whole card. So I hope that you learned a little something. I hope that you're inspired to maybe put a little metallic look in your background. You know, even if you're just a little scared of it, put it in an accent piece. It's really beautiful and super easy. So, and don't forget to hop along. JC is next. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.